I hope you are well. Today's video is obviously back in the travel journal. I'm going to be working through different journals throughout the month, so you can see a different take on each thing, from this journal to my normal journal to my passport, that sort of thing, and just shake it up. And you guys quite enjoyed my last travel journal video with the cream puff cafe, which I absolutely adored, and it really got me into the spirit of wanting to keep going with my little journal. So today I thought I would tackle the Studio Ghibli Museum, which happened the following day. Or actually no, it happened the same day that we went to the cream puff factory, so it was all very Ghibli inspired that day, and so I wanted to do that take on it and then move on to meeting Mitz and obviously the Tokyo station, and then I'm pretty sure from there we did a little bit of like Kittyland and stuff like that, which is a very, very cute kawaii, the Sanrio place. Lots of like cute kawaii shopping happened, I think, for the last half of that day, and then it was Disney, and then we came home. So I'm almost to the end of my trip. I feel like there's stuff missing from here. Obviously there's like photos and things that are missing, and I've got a whole heap of ephemera that kind of doesn't have much of a place, like my Toya pamphlets and the Tokyo Hands documents and stuff. So I want to sort of start placing some of those things in haphazardly towards the end, because it's just sort of, I want them in there, but I don't want them like interfering with my spread, if you get what I mean. So I've left some pages that are just a bit oddbally and don't have much on them, and this will be where I glue down pamphlets and floor maps and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so Studio Ghibli was freaking amazing, and I loved every single minute of it. I actually got teary walking through that place. It was so inspirational and I didn't want to leave. I think for such a small place, because it is very, very small, and you're not allowed to take photos or videos within the museum at all. There are no phones or anything, it's banned. And I was so devastated. I actually have one photo that I took outside the place, like outside where the cafe and stuff is. That's fine, which is where I took this photo, which I love. And then I have one more print. Where did I put it? I just printed it out and cut it out. That I took while I was in the museum, and then I got in trouble and got told to put my phone away, or my camera away. I just literally cut it out. And it's a big picture. Oh, it's right. It was a big picture, but I cut it down. So this was one of the stained glass windows in the museum, and I love Kiki's delivery service. It's one of my all-time favorites, obviously. And so I took a quick snap of the stained glass window with the Gigi the cat, and I got in so much trouble. So YOLO. I was very well behaved after that. I decided not to break the rules, and even though I really, really wanted to. And this was the book that I actually purchased, which goes through the entire museum, and it's all in Japanese, but there is a back bit at the end that's all translated into English. But I just wanted it to remember the beautifulness of it all, and the whimsy and the creativity. And it was so beautiful. It even caught John off guard, and my husband doesn't get caught off guard very often, but this museum stole both of our hearts. And I thought about taking my kids there when we visited again, but John said it's so small and they wouldn't appreciate it for what it is. And I totally agree. See, there's the window that I grabbed as we walked in and then got told off. So I felt really bad after that. So I decided to grab this book as a memento, as a reminder of the place, because it has literally all the photographs that you could possibly want from all the animation things. The stop motion animation it was all so beautiful. The way that it was set up like an art studio with all the art supplies and all the little nubs of pencils and things, and it just reminded you to want to, like, this jar is filled with little tiny pencil stubs, so used pencils. And I stood there for ages just staring at it, going, I need to draw more. This is like, it shows how many hours and how much drawing and creating went into making, this is all in Japanese, making all these things. It was truly an amazing experience. you could look through sketchbooks and you could look through animation books, and the only complaint I had was that if you took too long, because you went in a sort of procession line around the museum, if you took too long to look through things, there are a lot of people trying to get through this tiny little space, and especially the like workroom where all the walls are covered from like top to bottom with sketches and in progress shots. It was like a sketchbook wet dream. It was just so beautiful, and I remember wanting to stand there for hours and just look at every little single piece of paper that was taped to that wall. But there are so many people wanting to look through it as well that was the only complaint that I had, was I felt like I didn't get enough time to take it all in, especially because you couldn't take photographs or video footage. I would have loved to have taken video footage of everything and then gone back and watched it at my own leisure, but obviously that couldn't happen. So this is kind of the reason why I bought the book, and I'm not even sure how much it was. I kind of was just like, they told us that if you wanted to get the book, it had all the photographs and things in it, which I guess is a consolation prize. But this was all packed with people, but it was so beautiful. Oh, I loved every second of it, and I wished so hard that I could have showed people the beautiful cat bus area. This was like a little children's room where little kids could climb the cat bus and chuck the soot sprites everywhere. I secretly wanted to get in there with them, but I thought that, you know, the giant lady with the pink hair would probably scare all the small children. So I think this pulls out. I haven't actually looked through this book properly because I'm pretty sure I said to Romany that I was going to flip it for her, and then I think time got away from me and it just never happened. So if you still want a flip of this book, do let me know and I will flip it for you, but it is just so beautiful. So I didn't get heaps of photos because obviously you can't, but what photos I did get, I do love. I did pick up lots of postcards and things from the gift store. I bought a lot of enamel pins. I tried to get as much as I could. We got a beautiful perpetual calendar that sits on our computer desk, which was hubby's buy. I did as much as I possibly could in recording the things, and we also went to a Ghibli store that had official Ghibli merchandise in it, but wasn't actually at the museum. So the museum gift shop was very tiny as well, so there was a lot more things at this other store, which Mitz actually told me about. But we went there the next day because obviously we saw Mitz the next day. This is the cute little floor map that you get, and part of me wants to just chop, because all the bottom's in Japanese, so I'm thinking I might chop off here because it still has the logo on the front and it has the floor map, but it's obviously all this is in Japanese, so it's kind of a bit, it doesn't really help me in any way, shape or form. And then all this is in English, so I think I may do that also to save space. I've got like the little business cards that you got when you bought something. I have the little paper bag. I actually kept the larger paper bag that had the stuff on it. I kept that. It's in my, in my suitcase that I took to Japan. I've kept all my very special bags, like shopping bags, and I want to figure out a way to sort of display them because some of them are so beautiful. I also did a little bit of snapping on IG, which I'll probably insert now for you.
I've never been known for my cautious side. You should know that I'm well aware. I don't want anything left untried. Will you come with me, mon cher? So let us just do my love and not stop to think make any of this over. So let us just do, my love, and see where this road will take us now.
Like I said, there wasn't heaps of footage. I just was not allowed, so all I've got to go on is photographs. And I loved it, even though I couldn't, I guess I shouldn't complain about the fact that I didn't get to take my phone and my video camera in. It meant that I fully immersed myself in the experience. I wasn't checking my phone to take photos. I wasn't checking my phone for notifications because I get notifications constantly. My phone stayed in my bag, as did my camera, and hubby and I got to fully experience it together and have no distractions. And that in our day and age is a rare occurrence because we always have our phones with us. We always are checking them. They're always beeping. They're always interrupting. And because my phone is linked to my work, I had, was still answering questions when I could during our holiday. But on that day, in that moment, I think we were there for 2.5 hours or 3 hours. And considering how small the actual museum is, that's quite a lot of time. It was amazing just to be immersed in it. And that's the one thing that I am super grateful for with the month of gratitude. I'm grateful that I got the time to pay all my attention to it and not think anything about the outside world. I was in there with my husband, experiencing it with him, and that was truly, truly magical and one of my highlights of this trip. So I got a couple of the film strips from Howl's Moving Castle, which is one of my faves. I did pick up quite a few postcards from Ghibli because they just had such pretty ones, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing my giveaway in December for Christmas as the Christmas giveaway, so there will be some of these within the giveaway because I obviously can't use a bajillion Ghibli. I want to keep them all, I really do, but I can't justify keeping all these postcards. So there'll be a couple of little gift packs and one major giveaway in December for Christmas. I thought that was a good idea, even though I went in April, but I have collected other things along the way. I'm not just being shady and being like, oh, I'm keeping it forever. No, I've been collecting and adding things to the giveaway so that it's a decent one to win. So yeah, anyway, that's enough talking. I've talked way too much. These are the little tickets that we got in Ghibli, and they are also film strips. Oh, it was just, I loved these. I loved these so hard. I wanted more of them, and I hope to visit again, but I just think it'll be lost to my little humans. I don't think they'll get it. I do have some little Ghibli stamps that I have collected. One from Australia. I bought this one in Australia, and I bought this one in Japan. And yeah, so I'm going to use those today. I have no idea where this is going to take me, but I want to just make sure that I get as much of it down as possible. I may even paint a little couple of soot sprites instead of stamping them, because soot sprites are my jam. I have a soot sprite permanently attached to my denim jacket, which was a brooch that I bought in Japan. I put it on the day I bought it. It hasn't come off since. I get many a strange look, and people who actually know what they are totally go nuts for it. I also have my little cat bus mug today, which is one of my favorite little trinkets that I brought home from Japan, and I basically use it every single day. But yeah, Ghibli, if you can, if you get to Japan and you can do it, do it. It is just so beautiful and so amazing. It was a privilege, is what I'm gonna say. It was a privilege to visit that museum.
It's not that you're timid, no one could say, choosing to walk with a gate.
I will be honest, I had trouble getting into the rhythm of getting this page together, and I think it's because I had those other elements on the right hand side. So as you're looking at the page here that you can see, so I've got all these bits and bobs that I've kind of just stuck on while we were on our trip, and I was like, how am I going to work this in together? got there in the end, but I had a lot of fiddling and fixing and trialing and erroring, which I normally don't show you, but sometimes it's good for you to see how much I jump from thing to thing and how many times I test different images and I test different styles, and is this tip-in going to work? What does this tip-in, is it going to cover something else up? What do I want to be the focal image? And so that's where you see me trialing things in different sections, and then in the end I do create another set of pages because I honestly couldn't get all the things I wanted to on the 2-page spread. And even though we were only there for a day, there were so many elements that I wanted to document and get down on those pages that I decided 4 pages will just have to do it. I had a lot of photographs that I wanted to make sure made it into the journal. There's always images that don't make it, and that's where I will probably transfer some of those images either into my normal journal or when I actually come time to make the journal spilling journal series, which is still coming. I'm just working out ways to do it. It will go in there. So I always am trialing and erroring things. Erroring, is that a word? Probably not. I've probably just made it up. And then there are times when I know I would need to edit something down, like this map. It was way too big for my little B6 journal, and because it's in Japanese, I really only wanted that beautiful floor map sketch, which is part of it. And then on the back of the insert, it was just a whole heap of Japanese. Again, didn't need it, so I used that area to have an extra space to put a photograph, so I wasn't sort of wasting that area. It's good quality real estate for you to use for your journaling, so don't be afraid to alter your ephemera. Cut it down, make sure that you're getting the most out of it. I sometimes don't like the idea of just shoving like pamphlets into my journal. I will take the sections that I want to be shown off, because at the end of the day it's a visual experience, and sometimes I don't want a whole heap of pamphlets. I'll just take what I need and make it work for my journal.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts.
Because I had 2 maps, obviously hubby had one and I had another, we always grab 2 of everything because he knows that I like to Frankenstein my stuff. So instead of sharing, we always get 1 each. There was a little graphic that's actually on the sort of like the rules and regulations, and I loved it so much, so I decided to make it a tab for my tip-in. It was super cute, and then I just backed it with a shipping tag I cut down so that it didn't sort of have just a blank thing on the back of my photograph, because it is a tab. And I really like how that looked. I added a little bit of Kiki's Delivery Service washi tape because of course it's Ghibli, and then I'm trying to work out what the heck I'm going to do. I decide that I want to have a watercolor image or do some sort of watercoloring on the back of that stained glass window tip-in. So I'm just tracing that shape onto some watercolor paper, and then I have to trim it down a little bit obviously, and then I decide that I want to create some soot sprites.
You in my arms, won't let go. The world around could pass.
There are so many takes on the soot sprite, the original. There's like ones that people have done. They're very simple to do. There's just almost giant balls of dust with eyes, and so I decided to sketch it out first. I don't know why. I honestly could have just gone straight in with pen, and then I did use an Ecoline brush pen, which is a watercolor marker basically, to add the black. And I probably feel like I should have done it differently, and you'll see that I have trouble with the eyes, but I found a workaround solution in the end. But I should have just gone in with a permanent black pen, but I wanted to cover a lot of ground quickly, and doing it with the marker was very helpful. And then I came in with a brush pen to do the longer hairs, so I had a bit more control. This is the new Jane Davenport License to Quill pen, which is a waterproof brush pen. Loving it so much, and it was so great for getting different line variances, especially with the little hairs and stuff. And then I decided to use my stamp and stamp off the page so it looked like they were all sort of jumbled on my little tip-in. It's a great way to sort of add a little bit of not inspiration, but something different. Stamping it off the page makes it look like they're just catapulting down on your little tip-in. I loved how it looked, and I probably, if I would change anything, I'd probably paint one more little sprite a little bit smaller instead of having just this giant one on its own. But I still really like how it came out, but I did struggle with the eyes. But we have a workaround. There's always a way to fix things if you're not loving it. Always remember that.
You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you.
I had a total of 5. Yes, 5 white gel pens in my pencil case, but I couldn't get any of them to be opaque white. It was driving me nuts, and I'm pretty sure it's because I had a water-soluble black marker, and that's what I was trying to work over. But I was so mad at all my white pens yesterday. I was ready to literally hulk out, and I had 5 sitting in my pencil case, and I said to my mum, why have I got 5? And she goes, probably because 4 of them don't work and the 5th one's being troublesome. And it is totally true. So I'm just gluing my tip-ins together, so the actual watercolor piece on top of my tip-in, and then I think I figure out that I'm just not loving the eyes. Then they're just annoying the heck out of me, so I needed to work out a way to get them to work. You can see me trying to save them over and over again, and they're just a big fat mess. So I decided to figure a better way out to get the eyes as cute and as white and bright as I wanted to.
Okay, so this was driving me absolutely nuts. I seem to have like 5 white pens in my pencil case, and they're just not strong enough, and I think it's because I used a water-soluble pen, obviously wanting it to be a watercolor, and that ink is mixing in and it's just creating crap basically. So I have just cut out 2 eyeballs from white paper, added a little black dot, and I'm just gonna glue them down and call it a day, because I got sick of trying to fix the eyeballs on this little guy. It was just making me crazy. So I would rather collage eyeballs onto my soot sprite, because I don't have time to sit here and play which white pen is going to do the job. And I know the eyes are like different shapes, but I think that helps make them a little bit kookier. And I got a few other bits and pieces to sort of add to the page, and I feel a bit strange because it's like spread out over a few pages. And I know I want to do some writing and things like that. So there'll be some, I think I'll do some writing here. I just don't know what yet, because I kind of started, this is a card from Mitts. Sorry, I'm out of frame. Good job, Courtney. And I put it on the wrong day, so I don't want to move it. I've tried moving it and almost ripped my page, not going there. And I've got my little tickets, and I've got some of the photographs, and this will have journaling on it as well. And then I decided to put a big photo here, and I think I want to put maybe the big robot here. That way I don't have to have a huge amount of journaling. I turned the second map, so hubby's version of the map, into a little pocket with the extra film reels, film strips that I bought. So I think I want to add a little bit more bits and bobs. I've got this little map to sort of get in there. I've got these little things. This is like one of the grates that I pass on the way to walking to Studio Ghibli. As you can tell, there's my yellow skirt. So I want to put that in here as well, because I'm always fascinated by these, but it's such a big picture. That's the problem. Sometimes I don't think when I print my own pictures, and I just print them too big, and that makes me a bit crazy when I print them too large. I've also got some little soot sprite stickers that I got from Catnip, from her little shop, and I want to add some of those, I think, or 1 or 2. And I think I've also got a Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon stickers. that I bought from Etsy. And I wanted to add a few of these. Sort of mixing my love for the two different things. My phone is going crazy. It's doing a lot of buzzing. I also have things like these little cards that I've got from Johanna printable that I've had hoarding around forever that I thought I would use, but I'm getting to the point where I'm adding just too many tip-ins and not actually doing anything on the pages. But this would be where I would sit and do some journaling and let the tip-ins sort of do the rest. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put up here, or I may just leave it blank, but this was off the back of the map and I didn't want to, you can see it in here, yeah, but obviously the main part of this is I want this to be seen, so I obviously tape something to the back, which I want to put a label there somewhere. There's not much else I want to do here because there's so little room. And I got these beautiful watercolor-esque postcards from the little store that sold the Studio Ghibli stuff, but wasn't actually the gift store. So I may end up putting the map here because there's nowhere else for it to go, and I don't want to sort of forget. And there's this one, this is the card. It was called Shanghai Raffle City Store. It was so random, but as you can see, it's got Studio Ghibli official authorized store. And so we went there as well, so I may just tuck that in behind there because I don't want to add more tip-ins because it's just getting ridiculous. I do love my tip-ins, but then it gets to the point where I look like a crazy person. Is that the bit of the tag that I had? No, because I tore it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, so I've got this little bit of paper, and I've also got the cards that I need to pop down. I mean, I could put that in behind here, so it's not really, it's still doing its job. Anyway, I need to sit here and have a little bit of think about where I'm going to take this next, because I know that this is going to be a bajillion minutes, as always. I feel like I'm missing photographs. I feel like I don't have the robot in here yet, so I probably need to go, and I've got a picture of the robot too. So maybe I'll put him up there instead of doing a whole page tip-in of the robot. This is what happens. This is the behind the scenes of it, is me fiddling and fiddling and fiddling until I'm happy with how it looks. God, this glue, man. Don't think I can recommend the Tombow glue, or maybe it's just me and my cruddy skills. So maybe I will put that behind there, but I think it needs, I don't like shoving square photographs onto pages. If you haven't noticed, I'm always trying to layer something behind it, layer a background piece, something, because I just feel like it looks bleh. Nope. But I also have like extra postcards that I haven't, this was one I really wanted to get into my journal, but I don't want to, well, I guess I could glue it in as another tip in, and then on the back I can add some journaling and some photographs, and maybe this little guy here. Yeah, maybe let's do that. Let's do that. See, behind the scenes, sometimes I like to show you that stuff because it takes me ages to actually start putting my journal pages together. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I don't show you because it's boring. I know it's boring. So if I put that here, is that going to flip in? Yeah, it'll flip. I just got to make sure that I tape it in the right place, because we all know that I seem to tape things wrong and then I screw it up. So I need to make sure that this can close. So it's got to be taped here. And I'm going to clear tape it because I don't want anything to interfere with the actual postcard itself. Let's make sure, oh my goodness. The only problem with this tape is that it latches onto everything and anything. Actually, that side I can put the washi tape on. I'd much rather put some striped washi tape on than some more clear tape. My nails are getting fixed tomorrow. They are much too long. I feel like a monster. I don't know how I'm functioning with my monster talons. I can't type properly. I can't glue properly. I can't glue properly anyway. But I have so much more trouble. Yay! Got it! So put that there, and that will fold out like that, or it can go like that. Oh, so cute. Maybe I'll do it that way because I kind of like how he looks, and then that can fold out like that, and that can fold out like that. All right, I'm going to figure out the last few steps, and then I'm going to, while I'm figuring that out, I'll probably add some of the journaling into these front pages so it doesn't look so empty. I don't have heaps and heaps to say, but I want to say, I want to reflect on my experience because it was just magical. Just really was magical, and I wish I had more words to say than that, but it truly does depict exactly how I felt, like overwhelmed and inspired all at the same time.
I thought that little collage item was totally indicative of my Japan journey, so I decided to pop it in. It was sitting all fussy cut out, so it was just screaming for it. And sometimes I like to add some of my collage sheet elements that are separate from the trip but still kind of fit the theme, and I think the quirky nature of that one was definitely one that fitted perfectly. I didn't want to waste the little map that was on the actual Studio Ghibli pamphlet, so I just tipped it onto the back of a Johanna printable that I had and used a Mary Moss free printable sticker to create a tab, and then just stuck it behind my actual tickets. And I'm trying to work out where I want to go next because there is so many things going on, so many tip-ins, and I'm just trying to work out what goes where, and again doing all those things, trialing things in different sections, and decide that I wanted to just tip 2 of the photos together to maximize my space and just create yet another tip-in. I want to make sure there's always room for writing, which is why I have so many tip-ins, because I have some elements on my page already, like you saw before, all the bits that I'd already sort of stuck down on the trip, but I still want to make sure I get all those photos in, and that's why there are so many damn tip-ins in this journal, but I absolutely love it.
Alright, I think that is it for today's entry. I've started doing my journaling on all the bits and pieces and getting it down on here and on here, and just making the sitting down and reflecting on how I felt. I asked John a few questions, what he was thinking, and just sort of started writing them down in different like sections on my spread. But I really love how it came about. I'm not sure what I want to do here because it's a very small space. I may paint something, I don't know, or I'll try and go through my ephemera and see what I can fit down here. But yeah, I think this is done for Studio Ghibli. Their next entry will be Meeting Mitts, Toya, some of the more shopping bits and pieces. I have bits of ephemera from those things. I've also got bags and stuff like that. But I did take a bit of footage with Mitts, took some photos with her, and we had a lovely coffee. So I have like all the little coffee art that we had at the cafe, which was adorable. And then we sort of did a little bit of shopping as we walked around because we knew the next day we were going to Disney. So there's that sort of stuff that's sort of floating around in my ephemera that needs a home. I'm slowly whittling down that sort of stuff. Like I've got things like like the train map and stuff, and I picked these up when we were going to Tokyo Station to go to the Tokyo Station Traveler's Notebook, and I feel like I didn't even see Tokyo Station completely because it was a little bit overwhelming. We got lost trying to find the Traveler's Notebook place. We had to actually go to information and ask them because we kept going around in circles, and hubby's pretty switched on when it comes to directions, but for not love nor money could we find this. It's also where I found, we also went to Tokyo Skytree, which is this little thing here where there's like a shopping center near it. And that's when we went to the Ghibli shop, and also where I found my pink Delphonics pouch, which was amazeballs. I was just looking through all my Instagram feed because there's the archive function to see what I had filmed, because I did film quite a lot of snaps through Instagram instead of on my actual camera because it was easy as we were moving. But I have bits and pieces. I have the electronic parade for Disney that I will show you guys that as well. I know that video will have to just have no monetization on it because I want the music and the sound and stuff to be part of it, and I'm sure I'll get like copyright striked or something. But yeah, so that is it. It's getting really good. I must say that this insert, I think I've been asked, and I think I've told you guys, was the insert that came with my folio or my traveler's notebook from Sojourner. So it's one of her notebooks, and I'm giving it major props. It is holding up really, really well. I have put ink all over this. These are sprays, watercolor, tip-ins, you name it. This little notebook is totally taking all my abuse, and once it's finished, it's going to be very, very chunky, especially when I add in all the extra stuff. Like I've got floor guides here from all the different places, Copic marker charts, all this sort of stuff. I'm not sure how I'm possibly going, I don't know even if I want to put the whole floor guide in, or whether I just put like this part in because that was the shopping center we went to. Because it's quite large. They always have them in English, which was great because hubby and I had no hope otherwise. But yeah, so this all this bits and pieces that are just sort of floating around need to sort of have some homes. All the little maps and some of the Midori stuff. I shouldn't say Midori, the Traveler's Notebook stuff. And like these sorts of things, like a map of Tokyo. I think oh, it's all gonna drop. There goes all my ephemera. Oh, and then I've got all the Disney stuff. Like I've got all the Disney guides and stuff that we picked up each day. So there's still quite a lot to fit in here. And I think by the time it's finished, it's gonna be one chunky monkey, but I'm really enjoying this whole process and how it's looking as a travel journal, and it's making me excited to start my US one, which is kind of why I did it, because I felt like this was a lot more an easier sort of transition to get into, because there's so much ephemera in that US pouch. It's overwhelming, but this one was it was quite a smaller trip, no kids, and we had a very distinct thing of we're gonna do this. We had places, we had planning. We did more planning with this than we did for the US, mainly because we didn't have kids, so we knew we could do certain things that we couldn't do with the kids. So I think once this is done, I think it's time that I tackle my US journal, and I might actually do some of the US travel journal on YouTube so that there's some content for poor old YouTube. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's it, my loves. That is it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, put them down below. Are you enjoying the travel journal series? Are you happy for me to keep going? I'm pretty sure you are, because the last one, well, everyone really liked it. I like the idea of overlaying the footage that we took as I journal, especially with Disney, with the electric parade and stuff like that. I think that'll be really cute. But because the electric parade was filmed for Instagram, I'm gonna have to put it on the side, because it's that portrait way up. So even if I turned it, it'd just be fail. So yeah, that's it. I'm going. I've got more videos to film. It's super overcast. Ugh, the weather just does not know what it's doing. Have a wonderful day, Inkies, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!